Yo, what's going on, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. My name is Ryan, aka Arpit. If this is your first time to the channel or you haven't done so already, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any videos. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the 5 demos that are available for upcoming games. Obviously, I know there are a lot more than 5 demos available on the Switch, but these are the 5 games that are available for upcoming games that haven't released yet. We are going to be talking about those 5 demos that are available for the Switch and basically doing a ranking of those 5 games. Now, how did I determine my ranks? Well, we are basing these ranks based on the length of the demo, right? If it's 10 minutes, an hour, whatever, obviously longer the better normally. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, does it get you excited about the full version of the game, right? So like the whole point of a demo is to actually get you to want to play the real game. So how well of a job does it do to get you excited? And then that sounded a little weird, but you get the gist. And third is the actual gameplay of what's provided, right? So is the game itself actually interesting? And that's obviously more of my own personal opinion, but we are going to take that into account in these rankings. So without further ado, let's get into these 5 games. So coming in at number 5, we have Hypnospace Outlaw. Now, this is a game that was talked about in the most recent Indie World presentation not too long ago. Hypnospace Outlaw is a 90s internet simulator in which you scour Hypnospace's wide variety of weird and wonderful websites to hunt down wrongdoers, while also keeping an eye on your inbox, avoiding viruses and adware, and downloading a plethora of apps that may or may not be useful, blah, blah, blah. So you're basically the internet police, more or less. And this demo really does not give me an awesome idea of everything this game has to offer. Basically, they do a really quick tutorial of kind of who you are and what your job is, and you do one assignment, and then they say, cool, that's the demo. Hope you enjoyed it. Go buy the full game. And that, to me, means either this game's super short, so they can't show too much of a demo, which isn't always awesome. B, it could just be that they are still working on things, but I mean, it does come out super soon, like this week, so I don't think that would necessarily be the case. But because it was so short and they really don't give you a ton of insight into all of the tools that are available, again, I get it's a demo, so they're not gonna spoil everything for you, but they really don't, they only give you one thing to really work on. So I don't know, it just felt super short. It didn't really get me excited as far as wanting to buy this game or wanting to play the game. I will say it's a very different and interesting concept for sure. Like scouring the 90s internet. I mean, the internet 30 years ago is totally different than it is today, right? So that is very interesting and different for sure. But honestly, it just didn't get me super excited to play the game. That doesn't mean the full game isn't going to be great or mediocre or worse or whatever, right? Like it could be totally different, but as far as the demo is concerned, it was short, didn't get me super excited about the game, and so that's why it ranks number 5 out of 5 on this list. Coming in at number 4 on the list is Unrailed. Now, Unrailed is the other game that was talked about in the last Indie World presentation. Now, this game releases in a month, so not as soon, but still pretty soon. Unrailed definitely gave me some like Minecraft kind of vibes in the way that you are harvesting different materials so that you can build tracks to help your train get to the next destination, right? I'll be honest, I think a big reason I put this number 4 is just because personally I didn't get super sucked into the gameplay. Now, the longer I played, the more I did enjoy it, so that was good. The demo is roughly 20 minutes if you just do the one demo and the one thing that's available in the demo. You could put more minutes and hours into this if you wanted to, if you really, really enjoyed it. They do kind of stop you as far as how far you can get in the game, so that's why I only put 20 minutes into it, because that's about how long it took for me to get through the tutorial and then get to the actual game. One thing it did do a good job of, like I just mentioned, is that it did intrigue and become more interesting the longer I played, and which is good because by the time I finished it, I was like, oh shoot, like I kind of want to keep like trying this out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if it's totally there for me as far as me wanting to actually go out and buy the game, me personally, but I do think a lot of you that download this demo could find a lot of interest in that regard. So this is one, I think if you like the way the game looks, the concept is basically, like I said, you're harvesting materials and you are building tracks to get your train to the next destination point. And this is definitely an awesome game for co-op. So if you've got friends to play with, this is definitely a good game for that. So all in all, this game ranks number 4 for me on this list. Now coming in at number 3 is Avicii Invector. Now this game is a rhythm-based game, so what you do is you pick a song and it throws you into that song, and you're just pressing buttons to basically the timing of the song, right? And one thing I really loved about this game is the art and the visuals of this game. It was just really, really well done. There were like very, very, very minor frame rate things that I saw that weren't a huge deal, but they'll probably get cleaned up, I'm assuming, when they release the full game. So in the demo, what's available is 2 songs, and you can play those 2 songs on easy, medium, or hard. There isn't a time limit, so you can replay those as much as you wanted. You could do essentially like 10 minutes of this game, or you could do an hour, or whatever. There's unlimited time technically that you can put in, right? Me personally, I love these kinds of games, and I'm also a fan of Avicii, so that could play a little bit into this ranking at putting it maybe above like Unrailed, something like that. A lot of you would probably put Unrailed above Avicii, just depending on your style of game that you enjoy and if you don't like the music, for example. But honestly, I found myself going back and just playing the game for fun, right? Like even after I completed both the songs and completed it on all 3 difficulties, I still went back and I played it just to either up my score or try and get like 100% on the song, right? So there's a lot that you can go in and do in the demo, which I really like. I just really like this game, and I really think it did a great job of giving me an awesome idea of what this game is about, and I've found myself definitely wanting to buy this when it releases, I believe, in just a couple weeks now. These last 2 games, you could probably put either of them 1 or 2, however you wanted to do it, probably just based on your own personal preference. Now for me, at number 2, I am going with Cris Tales. Now Cris Tales is a game that should be releasing most likely later this year, or at least by early next year. And this game is sort of a throwback to older JRPGs, and normally I'm not a huge fan of JRPG games, but this is one that did a really good job of piquing my interest, and I think for me it was definitely the concept of the gameplay and the art style both that I really, really loved. Now, the entirety of the demo took me about an hour to play. There is a lot of tutorial and story based in it, so you're not going to experience a lot of the combat necessarily, but it does an awesome job of giving you a great idea of who the main character is, who the other players are in the game. One thing that I liked is you can go into, I believe they call it the Coliseum, where you can do these different rounds of battling enemies. So if you just want to get an idea of what the combat is like, then you can do just that section of the game. But if you want to do the full tutorial, then you can put in an hour plus into that game easily. One thing I haven't mentioned yet about this game is that it is focused around time. So you can send enemies back in time, in future time, and that definitely plays into different mechanics of the combat. So there's things like poison, where it may take a turn to actually poison an enemy, but you can send that enemy into the future where that enemy will then be poisoned right away, right? So there's different elements like that I think this game is going to be really, really cool. So it really did an awesome job of piquing my interest, what the game is all about, and definitely what to expect. I love the art style. I think the combat is really different and interesting, and this is probably going to be one that I'm definitely at least going to keep my eye on it. Depending on the price point, I'll definitely dive into it. Probably at least, like if it's $40, I'll definitely buy it at that point. But even if it's full $60, I think it did enough to really pique my interest so that I would buy it at that full price. So we'll definitely see, but this game comes in at number 2. And coming in at number 1 is Bravely Default 2. Now this demo actually came out back in March, I believe, so it's been out a very, very long time. We still don't have a concrete release date on this game. Does sound like it is most likely going to be the end of the year, but at least by the beginning of next year, just like a couple of these games. Now, the first thing I'll say, just to let you guys know, if you do want to check out this demo, if you haven't already, it is not going to be found as a download demo button under the main Bravely Default 2 game that's listed on the eShop. There's actually a specific demo that is available that you can search and find if you want to check out this demo. Now, this is a demo that you can put in multiple hours easily, because you can spend all your time just fighting enemies. You can spend as little time as just getting through the side story that they give you. So that's one super positive thing about this demo, is that it gives you a really, really good idea of the combat. There are two, I guess, potential drawbacks of this demo. So the demo really doesn't dive into a really deep tutorial. And so a lot of you might really like that, because if you're familiar with these kind of turn-based combat RPGs, then you should be able to pick it up within, 10 minutes easily. But if you're newer to these games, then it'll be a game that definitely takes more time to figure out the combat and what's going on. Now this game for me actually reminded me the most of Octopath Traveler, and that also they put out an awesome demo that gives you an awesome idea of what the game's all about. Now the art style is totally different from that game, but if you want a good idea of how a game works as far as different jobs for characters, the combat, things like that, Octopath Traveler is definitely a good equivalent in my opinion. Now I personally have not played the first Bravely Default game, but that's going to be fine, because this is totally a reason why these demos exist in the first place, right? Is so that you can get into an idea of what the game is all about. Now, the second drawback of this game is that the story that you are going on has nothing to do with the main story of the game. At least that's what it said in the first disclaimer when you open the demo. So you shouldn't be able to like transfer any progress you make in the demo over to the main game like you could in Octopath Traveler. But all in all, it does an awesome job of at least getting you familiar with jobs, combat, all that kind of stuff, the art style, the different enemies that are available, the world that you're going to be experiencing in the game. So for all those reasons, it definitely comes in at number 1 for me on this demo list. So there you have it. That is my ranking of the 5 demos available for upcoming games right now. Definitely let me know which ones you are interested in checking out, or if you guys have already checked these out, definitely let me know your opinion down below in the comments, and if I got any of these wrong, because that's totally cool, right? These ranking videos are totally opinion based. So yeah, let me know if I got any of these right, if I got them wrong, whatever. Definitely let me know down below in the comments. But thank you guys for checking out this video. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already, and make sure to like the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.